Hello, lifers, and welcome to a very special episode of Because Life Can Be a Niche podcast. Wherever you are watching, if you're watching on YouTube or you're listening, wherever you get your podcast, we appreciate you and thank you for coming into the living room with us. Today, I'm excited because I get to sit down with my sorority sister, a very dear friend, and an amazing, talented, uh, beautiful woman who has so much to share and a story to tell. She's not only my sorority sister, but also a faith-filled sister who has taken the music industry and recording career and traveling from being involved at such a young age, starting singing and performing at age 3, and then going on tour, opening up for people like Destiny's Child and 112, to gospel recording, to now having our own production company and also appearing in films and making music and developing musical and most talented and outrageously talented family, and married to the love of her life, her soulmate, who is also in the industry. It's such a beautiful story. But I invite you here to sit with us on these 3-4 episodes, because it is so much to tell and so much to share that it is, to me, definitely something that is worth the series that we're giving it, because we go and we talk about the industry and making it in the music industry, to uh, living and healing through chronic illness, something that she deals with on a regular basis, but is coming on the other side of that, to also healing from sexual abuse and childhood trauma, and coming out on the other side of that. It is definitely a story that you need to hear and share, and just, sit down with us in the living room and just give a moment to everything that's happened in her amazing life, and then where she is today and with her family, and all the wonderful, amazing, incredible things that we are about to see, and even more to come. So thank you guys for joining us, and I am excited to have Beauty Muñoz uh, on the scene with me. Just I can't wait to just for you all to hear everything, and just share in this journey with her, and joining us on this podcast to do so. Thank you, and let's take a listen. You're here. So now let's talk about, um, recently you shared on Instagram, and I read it. I read the post, and I was, first of all, I was surprised. I was hurt. I was like, oh my gosh, who would have known this about my sweet beauty? So you shared about a childhood trauma that happened, that you recently recalled. It came to your memory. It came out of the walls of what we sometimes lock away. And you shared it publicly, which was beautiful and a very vulnerable space to be. But will you tell us about what led to you sharing that, and what what was behind uh, how that trauma happened?
Well, it was not, um, it was very difficult to share that post. It came with almost an insurmountable amount of trepidation. Like, don't out yourself. You've
Mm,
lived with this secret all this time. Take it to the
mm,
grave, but um, I was so compelled. The Holy Spirit compelled me to share. And being in obedience to him, I had to deny my own, sense of self-preservation, or my own sense of privacy or image, or whatever you want to call it. But I have a cousin that's on my husband's side of the family, awesome actor, talented guy, creative guy. And he, of course, he came into my life when my husband and I got married, but I didn't really know him until recently as an actor. I just didn't know what he did for a living, really. So he was doing a one-man show about 2 years ago, 2019, and it was on my birthday. And so I'm like, oh, great, I get a chance to go to this show. Actually, it was a surprise. Let me back up. I didn't even know that that's where we were going. I knew he was on tour with this show, but I didn't know where we were going. So CeeLo surprised me. He took me to this show, and I'm sitting in the audience, and then I see our cousin up there doing his thing and opening the show, and his wife, and then the subject matter kind of, it took me kind of for a surprise, but I listened and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so he dealt with childhood trauma. He was sexually abused as a young boy, and not only was he abused by a neighbor, but he was also abused by a family member. And as I'm sitting there watching him act out these different parts of his childhood, I went back in time. Like, in my mind, I was physically in my seat, but if you were filming it in a movie, you would have seen a flashback to my childhood self. And I remembered one of my abusers, person I haven't thought about this person in 40 years. I haven't thought about this person. They don't exist to me. In my world, they don't exist. So I had locked it away and threw away the key. And when I'm sitting here in this live performance, that key resurfaced and unlocked those memories, and they started to come. And I was sitting there, and I started crying, and hubby was like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." But it's like, oh, it was uncomfortable because this was happening to me in public, and people were around, and I'm sure they were wondering like, what's going on. So at the end of it, we had a chance to give comments and ask questions, and I just stood up and I told him how proud of him I was, because it wasn't easy for him to bear his soul and to share his story. And in doing so, I was like, you triggered like memories for me. Like, I'm straight up like going back in time, remembering things that happened to me, and I didn't even realize it. Like, I didn't, like, I knew in concept that I had been abused as a child, but I had disassociated myself from it. So I didn't remember details. I didn't remember instances or situations. So once we had that interaction at my cousin's show, okay, we going on months later. I'm already, this is 2019. So I'm already dealing still with the sleep deprivation stuff. This is before I went vegan. Started just having nightmares, and they weren't nightmares. They were memories. And I was traumatized. I was tormented in my sleep by these memories, but it felt like dreams, like horror nightmares. That's what it felt like. And I would wake up out of my sleep crying, yelling. CeeLo is like, "Are you okay? What's wrong? Are you okay?" It was a lot of that night after night in the months after seeing his show or being at his show. And around about September or so of 2019, I forget, it was in the fall months, one of my cousins died. And I felt nothing. I felt
Mm.
nothing. I didn't feel
Mhm.
nothing. And that was strange. But he was one of my abusers. He
Right.
sexually abused me. I was three or four, maybe 4 or 5 at the most.
Oh
But
my.
when he died, I dreamt about that moment in my life when I was 4 or 5 years old.
Mhm.
And I woke up with so much anger and pain, and like my chest was like, ooh, it hurt, like
Mhm.
it hurt so bad, like someone had punched me in the chest, like the impact of something hitting you. And because I didn't remember until he died. And I was like 4 or 5 years old. Like, how can you do that? Who does that? How can you do that? How can you do that? How can you do
Mm.
that? And the the amount of grief that I experienced with that memory, it was like over and over again, I was grieving the loss of my innocence.
Yes. Yes. Robbed of such a precious time, when you should be enjoying dolls and playing outside in the creek and on the
Mhm.
swing and at grandmama's house, you know, eating the peppermint
Mhm.
candy out of the church purse.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
and you have this secret thing that's happening to you that's being stolen. Did anybody know that?
Let me say, thinking about it, this families have secrets, and that therein lies the problem because they be knowing that such and such be messing with them little boys. This is how they'll say it.
Mhm,
Oh, he a peeping Tom. They'll
mhm,
talk about it and gossip about it. But what are you doing to protect the children? So I have a real problem with some of my family members who didn't want me to say anything. And
mhm,
let me tell you, I'm friends with a lot of them on Facebook. Only
mhm.
one commented to comfort me.
Really? Oh my.
And I know I couldn't have been the only one. I know I couldn't have been
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
because that's not the method of operation for
Right,
a pedophile
right.
in a family. They don't limit themselves. They don't discriminate.
Mm-mm,
So I
mm,
knew I wasn't the only one, but um, to this day, there's been a whisper campaign about me and my post. Um, why is she gonna do that? Whatever they're saying, I just let them say it because it's not. It doesn't contribute to my healing. I'm dealing with something real traumatizing here, and even to this day, I am still remembering.
mhm,
So going back to 2019, and this person passes away, and I feel nothing, and then the memories come. That really opened the floodgates because that certain cousin, his siblings, all
mhm,
of them violated me at different points of my childhood. So this was a family of pedophilia,
mm,
and I don't know who all knew, I don't know who all didn't know, but at some point in time, each of them, maybe they talked to one another, 3 boys and 1 girl.
mhm.
I'm thinking she was probably abused. The likelihood of her being abused and being the baby of that particular family, the likelihood is very high. I'd say 100% she was being abused. And that's why she abused me. And that's why they abused me. And I believe that keeping those types of family secrets only empowers that evil. It empowers that evil, and it allows it to exist, and it allows it to grow and gain more victims. So silence is never the answer. But as a 4, 5, 6-year-old little girl, I didn't know. I thought I was gonna get in trouble. I didn't never even think to tell nobody, because it was like, you better not say nothing. This is what they tell me. You better not say nothing. All right, so my 6-year-old self is terrified of a whooping. I'm. Oh God! If I could talk to her, if I could tell her, baby girl, you need to say something. If I could talk to my little girl self, because I was so afraid of getting a whooping that I allowed. They were teenagers at the time. Now these were not no old men or nothing like that. They were teenagers at the time. But I allowed them to not allowed. It went on. I didn't have the courage to say anything. I just didn't. And a lot of times people will say, oh, well, you could have said something. You should have said something, to turn it around on the victim as if they had a responsibility to be their own hero. No. Why did you leave me there?
Right.
Why were you somewhere hanging with the grown-ups telling me I better not be in grown folks' business? Why weren't you parenting me? Why weren't you watching me? That's the kind of issues that I deal with now, trying to have a healthy relationship with my parents, my mom. My dad has since passed on. But because there was blame. And I felt like, now that I'm remembering all this stuff, I'm really upset with the people that were in charge of taking care of me, because I believe it should have never happened. And that's the frustration of it all, that it did. It should have never have happened, but it did.
It did.
And now I'm dealing with the fallout from what's happened. Like what happened to me 40 years ago has affected my entire marriage. It has affected the type of parent I am. It has affected everything. The person that I am was born out of that trauma. And I didn't even know to call it trauma. I didn't even know that it was trauma. I didn't know what it was, because I locked it up, and my brain protected me from it for all of my life. Literally, I've only really came into the knowledge of it all, or the memories of it all, in the last 2 years. So it's been very challenging. It's been hell, to be honest.
Do you think the family what are you guys doing? Are you talking about it at all? Do you think there's an opportunity for the family to come together and support others who may come out? Or do you think it's just because I know what small towns are like, and we talk a lot about a whole lot of stuff, and we gossip a lot about a whole lot of things until it's a family secret, like you shared. Do you think there is some type of healing on that end with the entire family, or anyone else feeling safe?
I don't.
To say something?
I don't. Okay. I don't. And because I know the method of operation of my bloodline. And it would just be more of a gossip topic than any type of real like work to get towards some kind of healing, or like the perpetrators are still at the cookout. You know, they still at the family reunion.
Right.
That's not
Right.
gonna change.
Mhm.
Basically, it's my word against theirs. Oh, she's starting up some again. She knows she always thought she was out there. Oh, she got to be the center of attention. Oh, it's like they won't cut me a break because they already some of my blood. They think I'm trying to be better, and I'm not. I'm just can I do me?
Right.
This is
Right.
this is this is me. All
Mm-hmm.
of this is me. The drive, the the tenacity,
Yeah.
the wanting to be somewhere with a microphone in my hand. That's just me.
Right.
That's just me. And either you love me or I'm just too much for some people, and that's okay.
Okay.
I'm all right with that because I've made peace with the fact that I am a larger than life type of person.
Mhm.
I was born in the country, but I was not built for the country. I
Right.
wasn't. I wasn't built to stay there, is what I'm
That's
saying.
right.
And as
Mm-hmm.
much as I love my humble beginnings, I know that God brought me, through different seasons of my life. And He's taught me so many different things. And part of it is discernment. So when you discern that a situation is, man, it ain't even worth your time, baby, don't even waste your breath. Don't even. That's the situation that right there is. Don't even waste your breath
Right.
because they're not gonna see you for who
Mm.
you are. I
Right.
am not Kendra. I'm not
Mhm.
her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know
I'm
exactly
not
what you.
her. I'm
Yes.
never gonna be her again.
Right.
You
That's
knew
right.
her, but you don't know me.
That's right.
And people from your past, they traditionally try to keep you where they knew you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, do you know how much time has passed? I've evolved. I'm
Right.
not her
That
anymore.
little girl is
So,
gone. That's right. And
and
I think we
what
should
I'm,
say that
mhm,
for our listeners and our viewers, your birth name was Kendra.
yes.
When we met in college, it was Kendra, and you've since your husband uh renamed you.
Mhm.
So we should say that, and then that's a story that we want to talk about. But you're right that sometimes people from your past, um, when you move away or you grow in faith, even when you grow in God, you change
Oh
from
yes.
that person that you were anyway.
Mhm.
And sometimes people who knew you when are still stuck there in that same
Mhm.
mentality, in that same place.
Mhm.
And it's so easy to say that someone thinks they're better than other people than to say, I'm not happy with what I chose in life. I'm not happy that I
Mhm.
chose to settle. I'm not happy that I chose not to live my fullest life or to live out my potential. It may not be performing or ministering or acting, it may be farming or owning your own business or opening up a salon, but because they have not taken that leap,
Mhm.
then it is very easy to attack the person who has just
Mhm.
gone
Mhm.
out that way. And when they want you to stay there, you're right. You can't reason with that. You can't go back and try to say, because they see Kendra. That's who
Mhm.
they see. And you can't argue with people who don't see beauty
Mhm. That's
and
so true.
don't listen to beauty's story. This happened it and it happened at the hands of people in this bloodline,
Mhm.
and that can be hard. And I
Mhm.
pray that it does get better for those who may still be holding on to that secret because they don't want to say anything or upset the family, and but it's it is very brave of you to share your story, because you don't know, you probably gave someone else the strength or the courage to seek help or to acknowledge what's happened to them, or to be more watchful of their children.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's it.
we go to cookouts and reunions and things, and we
Mm-hmm.
just figure, well, it's our family, and you just let children run wild. They're just
Mm-hmm.
gone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they off with the kids, they playing.
Oh,
Nope, we don't do that. And
right.
that makes me that has made me be the helicopter mom. And because, you know, like I said before, I knew in concept that I had been molested, right?
Mhm.
Growing up, even throughout my marriage, we had that conversation, but I had disassociated myself with that knowledge. Like it's one thing to know it in fact, it's one thing to like be affected by it or attached to it. I wasn't. So, but still within me, I was still inherently protective. And I'm talking beyond regular parental protective. I mean, like, I'm watching how you holding her. I'm watching where your hand is going. Don't hold her like that. Don't hold her like that, because at this age, she don't know what's a good touch and a bad touch. And that's looking like I'm not comfortable with that. Now, would I be um uncomfortable approaching an adult to tell them not to touch my daughter like that? Yeah, it was uncomfortable, but I would rather ruffle your feathers
Right.
than have my daughter confused about what is a good touch and what is a bad touch. So we've always been very watchful, and me more so. My husband, yes, of course, because he's got two beautiful daughters and a handsome son. So, and it's not always just like girls or females who are abused. Boys are
Mhm.
abused just as much. So
Absolutely.
we had those open conversations. We have
Mhm.
never let them do sleepovers. The only sleepovers that they have been at our house, where I can watch and I can see and I know who I'm inviting into my home. And they've been with girls that have gone to our church, and so it's been a very limited sleepovers. But when they would ask me, can they go to a sleepover? It's always no,
Right.
no,
Right.
oh no. Even if
Right.
it's cousins, especially if it's cousins, no,
Right.
no. They can come over here. You're not going over there. And
Mhm.
that caused me to be like, looked at as the bad guy, the tough guy, the heavy, the parent that, the helicopter, she's worried too much or whatever. They didn't even
Mhm.
know it was worried, because they didn't know what I was worried about, concerned about. But that just, it just caused me to be so more watchful, because
Mhm.
pedophiles and predators are slick, and they know how to avoid the radar.
Mhm.
They will volunteer to take a child to the bathroom.
Mhm. Mm. Something, so you think they're being helpful.
Mm-hmm. They'll volunteer to change a diaper. They'll volunteer to, I'll walk her up the street. Oh, you gonna go to Auntie house? I'll walk you.
Mhm.
Why?
Right.
Why? Why? Why do you need to be alone with her
Right.
or him? So it's just that it has affected me in that way, and I'm glad
Yeah.
it has, because if someone had been more protective of me, maybe I wouldn't have the experience that I had. So like I said, I'm still dealing with those issues with my mom and stuff. Just, I told her, I let her know what happened. Of course, she was devastated,
Right.
angry, upset, all of the emotions that a mother can have when they find out that this has happened to one of their children. So I definitely, I didn't want to add like more to her, like
Mhm.
the shame that she felt for not being there to protect me, right? The guilt. But I had to realize, and through therapy, I realized I was mad at her. I was upset with her and my dad. I was. I had buried it real deep down, but once I talked to my therapist, I'm like, dang, I'm mad at them because this should have never happened. It's still, a rebuilding process. Right now, my sister, I have let her know as well, like over the last, through 2020 and 2019, we've had conversations and the same thing. She's my older sister. She's like upset, blaming herself. I should have been there with you to protect you. I didn't know, because this is her age group that violated me. These were in her age group, and we're 7 years apart. So they're, 8 or 9 years older than me. But as far as the effect that it has had on me personally, I know that I am I'm a control freak. Can we just be real?
Yeah,
I'm a control freak, and I know why now.
You know why?
I didn't know why before. I have to control the situation. In my marriage, I have had to control the situation with my children. If I'm involved in some kind of school function or benefit or PTA, I have to be the person in charge. In my sorority, in our chapter, I would not rest until I was president. I have to be the person in charge. And that deep-seated reason behind it is because I was not in control when I was violated multiple times. We're talking years of abuse. We're not talking about one time. We're talking about years of abuse at the hands of these cousins. And whenever there was a family function, whenever there was a reunion, whenever there was whatever, that I already knew what it was going to be. I didn't, Lord. So because I lost my power, I was powerless against what was happening to me. I was defenseless, devoid of any type of recourse. There was no way out for me. Whatever happened was what they wanted to happen. I didn't have a say or a choice, or I had no power, is what I'm saying. So when I became old enough, I did, probably at the age of maybe 11. I can't remember. Maybe I was in double digits, maybe 10. There was this one of my cousins who was one of the main sleaze balls. Let's say that, disgusting person. I would say this. You see things portrayed in movies like Roscoe Jenkins, or just movies that portray in the Black culture, how male cousins or even female cousins be looking at each other like, yeah, I know that's my cousin, but dang, you look good. This is the type of cousin I'm talking about. Inappropriate. Complete, in no way, shape, or form is that appropriate. That is something wrong. That's psychological. That's wrong. That is a generational curse that must be broken. That is not okay, people. It's not okay. So when this guy still was coming at, oh, you my boo. You just so pretty. Like, how do you stay so pretty? I'm 10. Can I go play now? He drove up in his fancy car. Nobody had seen him for a while. This dude's been in and out of jail, so he's out of jail now. And he's coming to the family cookout or whatever. And it's getting like about dusk to dark. We call it dusky dark. It's getting about that time, sun's going down. And so us kids, we're all out playing and running. And, I'm scuffing up my legs, but I'm having a ball because I keep falling. Because it's dark and I can't see, and I'm chasing them and they're chasing me. And I just wanted to be a kid. And he kept calling me over to his car. And I'll be like, I just want to go play. And he kept calling me over to his car and was, come just sit in my car. This is my new car. You will see my new car. So I get in the car and I'm, didn't want to be in the car, but I'm 10 now. I'm not 6 anymore. I'm 10 and I have a voice. You know what I'm saying? So if you try something, I'm not going for it. And that was my mentality. So he's talking, puts his arm around me. Girl, you look so good. I'm 10. Isn't that disgusting? Like, how do you even, as a grown, if I'm 10, that meant he was at least about 22, 23.
Oh my
He was
God.
in his 20s at this time. And he literally tries to like kiss me on the mouth. I'm I said, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And I get out of his car and I run. And I didn't even tell nobody, Tree. Like, why? I don't know why. Maybe I still was in that same mindset. I'm going to get in trouble. I did something wrong. And that is the evil that infiltrated my mind. When I say the enemy, that is the enemy, because the enemy thrives in secrecy. And even in that moment, all I had to say was, he tried to kiss me. That's all I had to say. And do you know my daddy would have beat the living daylights out of him?
Yes.
That's all I had to say. But I didn't. And at the heart of it, I just wanted to go play. And so that's what I did. I left the situation and I just went and played with my cousins that were my age appropriate. And that's what I did. And that really was that was the last incident of an actual attempted touch or attempted inappropriateness. But the comments still carried on even into my adulthood, even into my 20s. And ooh, girl, you sure do look good. Ooh, you done filled out. You ain't little skinny little thing like you used to be. Like, comments like that, families gotta know there's more to it. Like, this individual is messed up in the head. Like, this individual has got some for real pedophilia going on. You don't make comments like that about family, and you don't make comments about that about little girls or little boys. You don't do that. So with that being said, I regained my control by never again losing. Never again will you catch me without having my power intact. Never again will you catch me where you can manipulate me, where you can control me, where you can get over on me. You will never be able to inflict your will above my own. You will never be able to victimize me again. And that you applied to everyone. That you actually applied to my husband. That you applied to any and everybody in my life, professional, personal. And I just became like a real, like, don't mess with her. Don't mess with her. Don't mess with her. She'll tell you something. Because I didn't have a voice back then, and it's like, now that I have my voice, you're not going to do me like that. You ain't going to do me like that. And unfortunately, my marriage, paid a hefty price for my coping mechanism, because that's what it became. It became my go-to in how I dealt with life in my marriage. And I didn't know why certain touches just, I just don't like that. I didn't know why I didn't like the kiss on the ear. I didn't know why certain smells would just send me into a whole different direction of disgust. And that's, within intimacy of our relationship, within the confines of what a marriage is supposed to be. And unfortunately, of course, my husband is not those people. Of course, my husband would never hurt me. Of course, my husband would never inflict, his will above my own. Of course. but in my subconscious. Now, remember, I only came into these memories like 2 years ago, but subconsciously, let me tell you how the brain chemistry still um,
Mm.
seeks to protect you. And so my psyche was still trying to protect me from not the person, but the behaviors or the smell or the something that I didn't like. And like my body would automatically like just be flinching or like, I don't like that. Or,
Mhm.
oh, don't kiss my neck. I don't like that feeling. Why? Because I associated it with my past trauma. Subconsciously, I associated, you know. So we're happy that we're able to deal with it full on. We know what we're dealing with, and that is more than half the battle right there, really. Because before it was unexplained. It was like, why are you the way you are? I'd be like, I don't
Right.
know.
He's
You
like, I'm
know?
just trying to love you, girl. And you're like, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Don't touch my knee. Right. Yeah.
hmm
Right.
He'd be like, what is wrong? Like, why are you this? Why are you so controlling? Why are you this? Why are you that? And I'd be like, I don't know. This is just the way I am. And arguments after arguments and years of that personality that had uh, developed, it sprang up to protect me. Like I had another me in front of the real me
Yes.
that was trying to protect the little girl from
Yes.
years ago. And it's funny how multifaceted we can be as
Mhm.
people and especially as women. But I so thank God. I thank him so. It ain't been easy. It's been one of the hardest battles, even harder than the chronic illness. These memories are something else because you can't escape. You can't escape your mind. You can't.
That's
You
right.
can't. Where can you run? Where
That's
can you
right.
run from your mind?
Mhm.
And we got in counseling. We all got in counseling. Even our daughters got in counseling because it was, the household was shifting because I was shifting. I'm the person who is the rock. I am the glue. Moms just do that.
You
And when
do.
mom is unglued and when mom is, this thing took a toll. So we all had to seek our own well, we sought family counseling from the same center and we had different people within that center that we talked to. And it was very beneficial for us to process our emotions and our feelings and our plan to come up out of what we found ourselves in.
Mhm.
And glory be to God, we are all our best selves right now. Like 2021 right now, we are all our best selves.
What a
Like
blessing.
we're thriving.
Yes.
God is so good. He is a restorer. He is a restorer.
Yes.
And I did not want to ugly cry today.
And I'm trying
I've been
not
I've
to cry
been
right now.
patting and priming. I was not gonna
Oh
ugly
my.
cry, but God is so good and He's so faithful. And
Yes.
He is a restorer. Everything I've lost from
Yes.
my health challenges, from childhood trauma, from
Mhm.
problems in my marriage because of that trauma, issues with my children because of that trauma, being
Mm.
too hard on them, being too protective of them. But God has given me peace and balance and restoration. And our relationships with one another are stronger than they've ever been. Even my son, he was just here visiting this week. And we had time to hang out and we had time to go to the studio and kick it. And, he was in there helping me with a song I was recording. So it's about time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming, but it's time for some joy. It's time for some peace. It's time for some healing. And this is where we find ourselves right now in this moment. And I just,
Honey, praise him because he is so good and so merciful and right
Mhm.
on time and giving you your beauty for ashes.
That's right. That's where it came from. That's
Is
where it
that,
came from. Well,
is that where your, so is that how, what your husband, okay, tell us the story now.
okay. Let me tell the story. Let me get myself under control. Whew. Makeup. I need you makeup.
Right.
Well, you were partially correct. He did
Mhm.
solidify the name for me.
Okay.
Lord, I said makeup, and here come my puppy. You gotta come over here running. Shh, it's not your turn. He's all at my legs, like, did you call me? Did you
Right.
call
He's
me?
like, do you need the brushes? What do you?
Yeah, but back when I was, single and crunk for Christ and all of that, I had wanted so badly to go to this ministers conference, and it was like only for ministers, and I just felt so bad that I wanted to go to this conference. So I had been praying and praying and fasting, and I came upon the scripture. He'll give you beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, and I was just pulled in by that scripture, Isaiah 61:3, and I had wanted to go to that ministers conference, and they called me and said, yes, you can come, you can volunteer. This is what they said, you can volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to this ministers conference, and I said I would be a, what did they say, a doorman or door person at the Lord's house. It just let me be in the building, just let me be in the
Right.
building.
That's
So
right.
I volunteered, and I was at that ministers conference, and from then on, that scripture, although it wasn't connected to the ministers conference, it was connected to me. It just resonated with me. And so that name Beauty, I started calling myself Beauty for Ashes. And that was my name, a long name, right? But I started calling myself Beauty for Ashes, but not
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't even say in a public setting. I think it was more of an internal. It was more of a Saul to Paul incident where,
Mm-hmm.
I realized I had grown, I had changed. Like, I'm really not who I used to be. Like, the person I used to be would never want to go to a ministers conference. Like, the person that I used to be would want to go to Club 112 or, Atlanta Live. The person I used to be
Right.
would want to be at the club. The person I used to be is not this person who wants to be a minister.
That's right.
So I realized in that moment that I had already began the progression of change and evolution and becoming someone new. And I needed a new name. It demanded a new name. So I went with Beauty for Ashes because of that scripture. And I'm telling
Mm.
you, not a couple of weeks, I don't even know if it was a whole month later, was when I met Steve. Well, he was reintroduced, God brought him back into my life, and he started calling me Beauty. I said, what you call me? He was like, Beauty. I said, wait a minute now. Now, the Lord already told me that my new name is Beauty for Ashes, and that's what I'm going by now. He was like, no way. And so it was confirmation. You know how God works. It was confirmation. And he said, I don't think that your name is Beauty for Ashes. I think your name is Beauty. I think your album will be Beauty for Ashes. That's what I think. And he was prophetically speaking when he
Yes.
said that's what he believes my album name is, and then my name is Beauty. So, girl, that was almost 21
Oh,
years ago.
oh my
And
goodness.
that's how long I have been Beauty, not only spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
the Saul to Paul issue, but in the kinship to my husband. This is who he's called me. So it has
Mm.
a very deep spiritual meaning for me. So that's why it really, I think it disrupts my spirit so much when people call me
Mm.
Kendra, because I'm just like, I'm not her. I
Right.
know you might want me to be, but I'm really not her, you guys.
Mhm. That's
I
right.
haven't been her in a long time. And what's associated with her is a lot of pain too. Kendra is the one who got abused. Kendra is the one who was
Mhm.
traumatized. Kendra is the one, who was dealt with inappropriately. And that she really never got a chance to be a little girl. So I'm going to do that. Beauty's going to do that for her. I owe
Right.
that to her. I'm going to give her that joy that she should have had in her childhood.
Mhm.
So it has a lot of meaning for me that people sometimes they just don't even slow down to hear why. They just
Mm,
think I'm
right,
being doing the most because I don't want to be called Kendra anymore. Like y'all just don't
right.
know, but that's okay.
That's
You
all
ain't gotta
right.
know.
That,
Read the book,
there you
watch the
go.
movie.
It's coming out. That's right. It's coming out. Speaking of which, 'cause that's the perfect segue right on into where we are now, healing, because every day we're healing. So healing
Hmm.
and wholeness and love and happiness and restoration. What's going on? What's your family doing now? What projects are in the works? What you got going on, sis? I mean, I know you do a lot, and you singing and acting, and just tell us. Let me be quiet. Tell us what you're
Okay,
doing and what
well,
your family's doing.
we as a family, we have a major project that we've been working on. It's been in the works. It has changed quite a bit since its inception, but today it is called Family Approved, and it is a family television show where we are the stars of the show. If you think back to like Donnie, the Osmonds, or you think back to the Jackson Five when they had their television show, or even Carol Burnett,
Yeah.
even in Living Color. So this is a family variety show where we sing, we dance, we act. We have funny skits that we star in, and alongside other celebrities who make cameo appearances. And we have, loving, touching, teachable moments. We have funny, crazy moments, and all of us have certain characters we play. So if you think about like in Living Color, you think of Homie the Clown. You think of all of those different characters, Wanda. You think of all these folks that they became iconic because they had these crazy, outlandish alter ego,
Yeah.
characters that they perform. So we all have
Mhm.
our certain characters that we dress up and transform into those different scenes. And it's just a lot of fun. And it's just creatively like having a family television show is first of all a lot of work, but it's when I see my kids doing their thing, when I see that the apple didn't even fall far from the tree, when I'm like, my God, they're so talented. And like I've been there, I've been there at the talent shows. I've been there watching them grow up. They've been with me in the recording studio. We've all been together, but then when you see their craft perfected and you see them writing songs and writing scripts and writing scenes and like they know this business. Like they know they have grown up under
Mhm.
Philo, the director and the host, and there's nothing this man can't do. There's nothing.
Mhm.
I'm convinced. I know that I've seen too much. I know too much. There's nothing he
Right.
can't do. So to be married to that type of energy that's always life giving and supportive and
Mhm.
cheering you on. I mean, it makes me laugh with like joy and yeah, I'd be like, baby, I got a crush on you. I tell him now, I got a crush on you because he's just he's one of a kind and he's mine.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
with this television show, we were able to shoot our pilot right before Corona really started kicking up. So we shot our pilot, and
Mhm.
we're in the phase now where we're negotiating and finding the right network that will be the home for
Oh.
Family Approved. We went into the studio just a few months ago to record the theme song for the show, and that in itself was so crazy fun. Like all of us on a record. I mean,
Right.
if you don't know, like our son Keto, he is already on his fourth album. He's moved out to LA. I think it's been maybe not quite a year that he's been in LA, but he's doing his own thing. He's writing, he's working on his own project, but he's also working on Issa Rae's project out in LA.
Oh
He's
my
done
goodness.
multiple writing camps that she's done for a writing workshop. And so he's a part of that engineering. He's a part of that engineering process. He has done so much in his career in a very short time. He is 30 now, but it's crazy when I say I have a 30-year-old son and people look at me kind of weird because we were literally in the studio like 2 days ago and people didn't know he was my son. Well, I think it works in both of our favors. He looks young and I look young too. We both look like we were around the same age, maybe. So they were shocked when I was like, yeah, this is my son. But he's definitely making a name for himself in the LA scene, not only on the music scene, but also, working on this Issa Rae project. We're very excited for him and what doors that will continue to open up for him. Yes. And our second born, Saina, she's 17, and she has her own film production company called ProTag Productions, where she writes, directs, produces, stars in her short films. And so she has her YouTube channel and she has her following and she's just doing what she loves. She's just a vivacious, creative, beautiful inside and out type of individual. And she can see certain things. Even with me, she'll see like certain shots, or she's like, Mom, let's take it right here. Like, so she's a photographer, but she also films a lot of projects, her own stuff and other people's stuff. She edits. She's gotten side work doing editing football reels for some of the local football stars that are here in our new area. So she's getting work, cranking out these highlight reels. But she's just, she's a singer, she's a songwriter, she's a filmmaker, and she plays the ukulele, self-taught. She was one of those people that said, Mom, if you get me this, I will learn it. And I'm like, are you sure? About 3-4 years ago. And I was like, but that's not easy. Like, how you just gonna learn how to play an instrument? Sure enough, we got her the ukulele on Christmas Day. She was already playing a song on her YouTube channel, already, strumming and filming, and taught herself how to play the ukulele. And she played trumpet. She was in trumpet for many, many years. And she was first chair in like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, which I think really influenced our youngest, Simone, to start playing the trumpet. And she took right off, like out the gate. She's first chair already playing trumpet. And I told them, now, when Mom was a music major at UGA, I played trumpet. No. I learned trumpet. I did not play it very well at all. Like, I did not, because as a music major, we had to take all these methods courses. The original program that I was in, I was going to be certified to teach band or chorus. So we had to take all these be involved in all these choruses, and then we also had to take methods courses like trumpet, horns, percussion, strings. So I took violin, I took trumpet, I took percussion, of course, piano. So they got it honest. I'll try to say that, but really, I was not a real trumpet player, not really. But they are. They got it. Yep. And then with Simone, our youngest, she's just, when I say creative, oh my gosh, this girl can do anything. She'll see it and she'll say, I can do that. And then so she's doing it. Like, she's doing it. Like, she plays the bass, self-taught. She plays the guitar, electric guitar, self-taught. I had guitars sitting around for years. Like, I kept saying, oh, I want a guitar. So Silas buys me a guitar. Boom, 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 boom. So I play it. I teach myself how to play the bass. He bought me an acoustic. Acoustic was so very difficult, and it was hard to keep in tune. So I let it collect dust. So they were sitting like downstairs, and Simone was like, can I, put these in my room? And I'm thinking she's just going to put it in there for decoration. Lo and behold, I'm hearing all this music coming from her room, and she's actually playing the instruments. I thought she was just gonna like decorate her room, but no, I got plans, and so she's been taking guitar lessons with the School of Rock, and she is an excellent student. So much so that they wanted to put her in the band. They wanted
Oh
to put
my
her in. Yeah, but well, we declined because it's just a lot going on for us right now. She's just going to
right.
continue to take lessons, but eventually she's going to move to percussion because she wants to play drums too. But she's just
Mhm.
and a songwriter. She's written several original songs, just like her sister on the ukulele. But she's written several songs on her on the electric guitar as well. And she
Right.
has a flute, and she has a percussion kit. So it's
Oh my
like
goodness.
music, they took it to another level. Like
They
I'm a
did.
voice person, and I am I can play piano. I actually taught piano for many years,
Right.
which I forgot to talk about. After that gospel career, I
Yeah.
started teaching. I did private teaching. And before Corona really hit, that's what I was doing a lot of with my time and with my skills. I'm a private lesson teacher. So I taught piano and voice, and right out of my home, students just show up and we do an hour, 30-minute session and cash
Yeah.
app and we're done. You know?
Do you still do that now, even though this whole panoramic is going on? But do you
Right.
still do it, or what are you offering that? Will you offer it again if you're not?
Well, I am not doing it so much. I'm not opposed to having one or two students, but the thing about teaching privately is I always have taught on my own terms. So if it doesn't fit my
Mhm.
schedule, then I don't do it. Or if I'm, doing other things with my time,
Right.
like recently, I started doing a lot of extra work, working
Mhm.
on different movies and television that we're filming here in the Atlanta area, because this is the new Hollywood. So there's always something being filmed, from Marvel movies to favorite television shows that people binge watch. So
Mhm.
I found like a little, you know, slice of life in that. And I really did love it until the pandemic hit. And then I was like, I can't do this no more. I can't be here with y'all people. People,
Right.
many have rejoined that um, form of work, but I have not. It's called gig worker. You just kind of,
Mhm.
you gigging on if something's filming, like I did um, American Soul, which is basically Soul Train. I did 2 seasons,
Yes.
so you can definitely see me because I'm in there quite a bit. And
Mhm.
I've played different roles. I've been a dancer. I've been, Soul Train dancer. I've been a wardrobe assistant.
Mhm.
Just little appearances here and there. I did Genius Aretha. I
Mhm.
did The Banker with Sam Jackson and Anthony Mackie. So gigs like that I enjoy because you get to meet so many different people that are in the industry. It's not, for me, it wasn't really about, oh, I'm gonna meet someone. It was, or networking. It was fun. It was something different that I had not done before. Now I've done acting, and of course we have our own production company, but it was nice to do something away from like the norm, or away from what I know. Like Zona Media Group, our company, that's my
Mhm.
comfort zone. I know that. We built that together. That's
Right.
us. But when you're
Mhm.
talking about dealing with different production houses, or different film companies in general, it's just fun to learn and see how they do things, and
Mhm.
compare it on their scale of how they do things. So I have learned a lot, and I have made some connections here and there, even though that wasn't the goal, but it was definitely a good byproduct, I guess.
Right. Yes, that's exactly right.
Hmm.
It all flows together.
It does. It really does. It all, is connected because it's all entertainment.
Mhm.
And that's all I know to do. That's all that let me say this. That's what I was born to do. That's what I was born.
Mhm.
I know that my purpose is in the entertainment industry, whether that's um, telling my story through song or acting it out,
Mhm.
on stage in something that I've written or that's been written for me, or whether that's writing. Um, yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
writing some books
Yes.
that
Mhm.
I'm in the process of writing.
Can't wait to get my hands on them so that I can read, because you have a beautiful story to share and to tell us.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
so much.
It
So the
is
work
so much.
waiting. So I hope you blocking off time to write so that the
That's what
world
I need to do.
yes.
I need to block off time because there's very little of it, and I even just remembered some other things that I'm working on, because what
Yes.
I'm doing is getting back to me. Like, you know how when you have a career and it's going, and then I got married and I had children, and I kind of had to put off me. Like I put off, I embraced us, like the
Mhm.
family and what the family needs and what's important to the family. And I'm still doing that. But now that they're older and now that they're able to individualize and they're branching off and doing what they love,
Mhm.
now it gives me more freedom to kind of find myself and do the things that I love. And I think really
Right.
that's where that doing extra work and being an actress on set, that's kind of where that kicked off from, because I'm like, okay, I can now kind of do something that I've always wanted to explore and just check it out and see what it's like. So I've been recording lately. I've been writing. The pandemic,
Mhm.
oh my goodness. One of the things about it is that I've had time to write songs. I have written a ton of songs and I can't wait to share them, and I can't wait to,
Mhm.
you know, record. Some of them I'm already working on.
Okay.
One of the major projects that I'm working on right now, though, is with the Ian Burke project. He is working, I don't know, if you don't know, you better know. Ian
Yeah.
Burke is the driving force of the Atlanta music industry. Anybody who became somebody, he had something to do with it.
Okay.
You know, he got so many people their record deals. He got them, set up with promotion and distribution. He got them in front of the right people. He got them in the right room with the right people, with him involved in making sure that this young talent that they just found at the mall, okay, so now he's on BET and now he's got a single out. This is a story that has been replayed so many times, from TLC to 112 to Monica to all of these people that we know and that really is our era, like the 90s era.
Right.
He put them on
Yeah.
the map. He
All
is
right.
the dream weaver.
Okay.
And that's what his new television show is called, Dream Weaver, because he is the one who wove all of these dreams into existence. And if it were not for his involvement, people
Mhm.
would not be cashing in today. People would
Right.
not, we wouldn't even know them, basically.
Right.
And this is coming from their own mouth, from Jermaine
Right.
Dupri, from Arrested Development. The list
All of the artists
the
here. Yeah.
list goes on and on and on and on. So
Hmm.
anyway, he's a big brother of mine, and
Mhm.
knowing him for over the many years, and he and Silos are super close. And
Mhm.
he asked me to be a part of his project. So I was just in the studio recently working on the theme song for this television show.
Okay.
And I'm just, I'm very excited. First of all,
I,
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be asked, and
yeah.
even thrilled to be considered. And because really, if Roxy had popped off the way it was supposed to, we would have been one of them groups too.
Right.
We
That's
would have
right.
been one of those household names, just like Destiny's Child, just like 112.
Yeah.
We would have been, but I can't deal in the shoulda, woulda, coulda, because God had His plan,
That's right.
and
That's
it
right.
worked out the way it is supposed to work out.
It did.
But that is one of the projects that I'm working on now. So
Oh, oh, that's exciting, girl. You got so what you're gonna have to do, you're gonna have to send me all of this information so people know how to reach out. Your production company, do you work with budding artists or what? what do you do? How can people connect there?
Well, that is one of the, I guess, one of the branches of our company is we do offer artist development. So just like Silos and I came up under that old school artist development, that is one of the services that we offer. And we work with artists, we work with new artists, we work with established artists, and it kind of all ties in since I'm a vocal coach and he is a trained choreographer and artist developer. So our skills and talents just marry very well together, and it makes us a dynamic duo of a team that we can dispense our knowledge and experience to other people who are coming up in the game. But we worked with one of BB King's granddaughters. Her name is Val B. King, and she is a recording artist. She's out west now, but she lived in the Atlanta area for a while. So we worked on her project and basically start to finish, from finding the producers that are going to work the project, making sure it's a good chemistry, matching up the artist and the producer, getting in the studio. I write and I also vocal produce for the artist. And, we just make it happen. We package, we brand, we establish a social media presence. There's a lot that goes involved with it, especially getting stage ready. Before you hit the stage, getting ready, like things that I've mentioned to you in the past about that old school way of arts development.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely something that we offer, and we look forward to working with people who want to work. That's the thing.
I'm ready to work.
You want to work?
We're going to put that in the show notes, and we'll have it on the screen and everything too, because I know it's a lot of y'all out there listening and watching, and you're thinking, how can I get my big break? Well, start here, right here with Beauty and CeeLo. So we're gonna make sure people know how to get with that and get that information. So now,
very good.
I can't let you go. I can't end this podcast without a little something, a little taste of your voice. And it doesn't have to be a whole song. It can just be something that one of your favorite songs, something that just gives you peace, hope, love, uplifting, soul. Just give us a little sample of it.
I'm thinking. We might have to edit this part. I'm thinking. You don't have any requests, do you? Nothing's popping into my head.
I want it coming right from you, right from what you want. What would you, if you could sing for something that means something to you or that resonates, what would you sing?
Okay. Well, this is a song. It's not a gospel song, but it has given me encouragement, and it's given me like self-worth, because sometimes dealing with issues, chronic illness, trauma, just life, it can make you feel like somebody help me, somebody rescue me, God, somebody help me. And even though, of course, God is always there, we have the ability to write our own story. And that's if you take away something from this conversation that we've had, this time that we've spent together, take away the fact that you do have the ability to rewrite your story. And that's where I am right now. There's a verse in the Bible that says something to the effect of, my lips or my tongue are the pen of a ready writer. Like you're ready for the Holy Spirit to tell you the right thing to say, the right thing to do. And there's also a verse that says, I will hear a voice behind me telling me, which way to go when I turn to the left and when I turn to the right. You'll hear that voice behind you. So it's not always us that's doing this miraculous work. It's the God in us but we know that we can be a hero. Like, be your own hero of your story. Write yourself in as the lead. Write yourself in as the
That's
hero that rescues you
mhm.
from your own patterns or your own trauma, your own self-destructive
That's right.
tendencies. Rescue yourself. Do the work. And it's
Mhm.
not easy. It ain't never gonna be easy, but you have it within you to do it,
Mhm.
to make it so, to
Right.
manifest it. Um,
Um,
so this is a song. I actually posted it the other day, but I just posted a little snippet. I will see what I can do with it. My
okay.
A and B selection, but really only A.
A
Um,
is very good.
all right, all right. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. There's a hero. If you look inside your heart, you don't have to be afraid of who you are. There's an answer if you reach into your soul, and the sorrow that you know will melt away. And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. And when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you'll finally see the truth that a hero lies in you.
Bravo, bravo. Oh my goodness, girl, you still give goosebumps. Just look, oh my gosh, your voice is, and Beauty is her name. Your voice is
Oh, God bless you.
amazing. Oh
God
my
bless you.
goodness, my sister, thank you so much for coming on this podcast, coming into the living room with us, sharing your story, sharing your triumph that the little girl from Toccoa, Georgia, can
Yep.
end up on stage in Hollywood performing with people from Hollywood and with their own production company and their own thing, and then have a whole talented family. It's just come full circle. And I'm so grateful to you for showing us what God can do, and then what you can
Mm-hmm.
do with God's help. So
Amen. Amen.
I
Amen.
love you.
Amen.
Thank
Well, I
you.
I thank you for the opportunity, for the platform, for opportunity doesn't seem to, it's not a big enough word, because sometimes people just, you need to be heard. Like, you need to be heard. And that's what you've given me. I've not really been able to, share all of this, certainly, in one sitting.
Mm.
But to be able to share, aspects about my life and my childhood and my career and family and all of that in one sitting, I appreciate that platform. I appreciate you hearing me. It's so important for us to be heard and valued and received, and that's what you have provided for
Oh,
me. And I thank you so much.
keep it moving. Good, you're staring full, never seen a holy girl get